The International Newsnet World Report is a national television news show available in more than 30 million homes. We broadcast daily real news the networks won't tell you. We are solely viewer-supported. That means you. You can donate at our website, inenworldreport.net. We hope you find the following interview informative and helpful.
Karl Rove is resigning. Last month, Senate Judiciary Chair Patrick Leahy subpoenaed Rove about the firing of 9 U.S. attorneys. Rove cited executive privilege, as we think he will continue to do, leading the Congress and the administration towards a constitutional showdown in the courts. And then there is the improper use by White House aides of Republican National Committee email accounts which coincidentally just happened to be on the same GOP server as the reported results the night of the presidential 2004 election in Ohio. What else would be discovered if we could get to the bottom of White House protection for Mr. Rove? Wayne Slater is a co-author of 2 books about Rove: Bush's Brain, How Karl Rove Made George W. Bush Presidential, and The Architect, Karl Rove and the Master Plan for Absolute Power. Slater is also the senior political reporter for the Dallas Morning News. He joins us now by phone. Welcome to INN, Wayne Slater.
Great to be with you.
Wayne, could this signal the beginning of the end for the Bush-Cheney administration?
This is the end of the Bush-Cheney administration, at least in terms of any active achievement, any passing any legislation, any big initiatives. There's virtually nothing else to do. The lame duck presidencies always happen at the end, and if the 2006 debacle for Republicans wasn't signal enough, when Karl Rove leaves the White House, there's really nothing else left for the White House to be doing.
Karl Rove has been called the evil genius. The operative word here is evil. What in his character, and you've studied it quite a bit, makes this obvious disrespect for the rule of law possible?
You know, what he does is plays to win. Now, a lot of people do that. There's nothing wrong with competition, but the guy plays absolutely to win. And if he has a legacy, sort of a political legacy in America, in American politics, it is that he raised the politics of division, of exploiting the polarization of people and using wedge issues and and appealing to the worst in all of us in order to win and to defeat his opponents. The other thing that has been historically true about Karl, and we really outlined this in the first book, Bush's Brain, is that from the very beginning of his political career, everyone you talk with who's found himself on the other side, Democrats or in some cases fellow Republicans, in a political battle, say that he not only wants to win, it's not enough to be victorious, but he wants to destroy, by whatever means necessary, whoever was against him.
Wayne, the plan for a permanent Republican majority, some pundits are saying we haven't seen the last of Rove, that he is really going out of the limelight to try to maneuver the GOP away from certain disaster in 2008. What's your take on that possibility?
Well, I think, he's responsible for lion's share of the disaster that's going to come for a lot of reasons. He is leaving because there's nothing left to do in the White House, really. He is leaving in part because he's going to write a book or a series of books which are designed to rehabilitate, or in his words, to educate about the Bush administration in history. The truth is, although I do see the possibility that he's going to, that he could informally advise presidential candidates for 2008, most of these guys don't want Rove around. They do not want to publicly be associated with Karl at this point. I think where you will see him is actively engaged with the Republican National Committee, looking at strategies for the Republican Party to avert disaster in 2008 for the presidential candidates, and more particularly in congressional candidates, because all indications, a lot of indications are that it could be another very bad year for Republicans. And you have a guy like Rove on your team at the Republican National Committee, not formally, not being paid, but informally as an advisor. And I think there are some Republicans who still say, look, Democrats who think that the 2006 race means the genius is a goat and an idiot are mistaken. It is dangerous to underestimate Karl Rove's ability, despite the obvious failures of the last 2 years.
We always use the words misunderestimate. But if Karl Rove isn't going to be the force he is there a chosen successor? He's a hard act to follow.
He's a real hard act to follow. I can't tell you how many times that Democrats have come to me and others and said, who is our Karl Rove? Or some Republicans say, who's the next guy who will be Karl Rove? And for a whole host of reasons, there will not be in the near future another person directly like Karl. He not only is I think, a political, tactical, strategic genius, and really an amoral operator. I didn't say immoral, but basically amoral. What does it take to win? He's also was someone in a very unique situation with the President of the United States, because he was with Bush before Bush ever succeeded in politics. And you really don't have that kind of combination of political genius and someone who was with a presidential candidate, 20 years ago, very often.
Wayne, Rove was most certainly implicated in the Valerie Plame CIA leak case. Special prosecutor Patrick Fitzgerald declined to prosecute, causing us and others to see a very biased Justice Department and a continued pattern of protection for Rove from the White House. Will this protection now end, or will it continue?
I think it's going to continue. And, it's funny, Karl, on the morning after last November's election, in which the Democrats took back the House and the Senate, the failure of Karl Rove, the first time Karl Rove had really lost big, he walked into the Oval Office and told the president, they had a conversation, and he basically told the president that this election was in 2006 was much closer than a lot of people think. A lot of people don't understand how relatively close the election was. And by Karl's math, he told the president, if you change and shift 3,000 votes, basically Montana, then the Republicans might have held on to the Senate. If you shift 70 to 73,000 votes nationwide among the millions that were cast, the Republicans could have held on to the House. He made the argument to the president that the hope for this enduring Republican majority is much closer than the Democrats, his enemies, and even some Republicans who are wringing their hands think. Now, there's a lot of criticism that he's off his rocker. This is science fiction, if not fiction. But in Karl's mind, he certainly believes that he can return, the Republican Party can bounce back in 2008, and despite a lot of evidence to the contrary, there is a theme inside some folks in the Republican Party that they could reclaim the White House. They think if Hillary Clinton is a Democratic nominee, they can do that. And that what Rove set out to do a while ago, establish a generation of Republican dominance in American politics, might not be as far off as some Democrats think.
Wayne, one last question. Let's swing the pendulum to the other side. Knowing that the investigations are coming and knowing that they could actually catch Karl Rove in the act, is it possible a backroom deal with the Democrats has been struck to save him from that horrible end?
I doubt it. I have to say, interesting thesis. I see no evidence that wouldn't benefit the Democrats in a decent way, in an effective way. Having covered Karl Rove for 20 years and knowing Karl for all these years and watching him wriggle out of event after tight spot after investigation and difficulty, my guess is that although the feds are continuing to look at Rove, that the interest here is to protect him, and that in the end he will not be charged, most likely, and he will get away scot-free.
Wayne Slater, a lot of people hope you're wrong, but we'll take it at that. Thanks for joining us in the INN World Report.
Great to be with you.